Hey, Jacques, how's it going?
Hey Donovan, lucky you, man.
I'm doing well, thanks. Well, thanks. I see you've got the new away jersey there this on.
Yeah. I thought I'll wear the away jersey to start things off. And then we'll see how we can swap it up for every episode that we do. I've got so many jerseys, it's scary. I could probably go for every week of the month for the year.
I think my only other one is my pink one, and I'm not ready to wear that just yet.
No, that's cool, but we'll sort you out.
So, Jacques, if you could just tell everyone a little bit about yourself.
So yeah, I mean, obviously I'm a staunch Bull supporter. I live here in Johannesburg. Born and bred in Pretoria. Spent most of my childhood in KZN of all places. But never ever since the day I can remember, I've had, there's only been one team for me, and it's been, the Blue Bulls. And through thick and thin, we've come a long way, and I'm still here. So, yeah, that's pretty much me in a nutshell from a Bulls perspective. Us, if the team does well, we all support them. If the team suffers, we still support them. But you know what? One thing about me, I'm a straight talker, and if I don't feel things are right, then I kind of like to tell people about it, and hopefully the right people also take note of it. So it's just a passion thing. It's nothing else. It's not about bashing the Bulls or anything. It's honestly, it's a passion thing. That's what it is.
Yeah.
That's me.
You'll be quite strange. Everyone in my family are Shark supporters.
Shame, man. I'm unlucky you. At least you're the only one that's got,
No, see, my grandfather was doctor for the Springboks for 30 years, and for the shot and for Natal, but he died before they won their first Currie Cup, in their 100th year.
Oh, shame.
And I think so. I grew up actually a Shark supporter, and then when I was about 17, 18, I started rebelling against the family, and I thought, no, stuff them. I'm going to go support the Bulls, and then it stuck. So
probably the best rebellion in the world.
Yeah, so I go to family functions and everyone's a Shark, and I'm the only Blue Bull that's there.
Oh, well, at least you stand out.
So the reason why I wanted to start the show, Jacques, is I just wanted to have a place where we could talk about the Bulls, because I was looking online and there's no real show on the Bulls. Even on TV, there's got the Cheetah Chase and there's the, all these things that are on TV, but there's nothing about the Bulls ever.
Yeah.
So I thought, let me find a like-minded person that we can talk about the Bulls just in a completely open way. I like to be quite positive, but so I try to word things in a positive way. Yes. But I can understand that sometimes, you got to rap people over the knuckles when they do something wrong.
Yeah, so, I believe there's place for everything. But, I mean, sorry to interrupt you, but I've decided for 2019 I want to try and be as positive as I can, especially, when it comes to the Bulls. We've had some hard yards the last few years. But, it's going to change at some stage. And, I mean, at the end of the day, the team also needs our support. And, if we can boost the team from our side, because hopefully they're going to find out about us sooner than later. And that will be awesome, even if it's just a little drop in the bucket towards motivating the team every week in and week out. That would be awesome to know. We've played a little part in something. So I'm so happy that you've come up with this idea. I think it's an awesome idea.
Perfect. So let's get started with it. So what this last weekend's game, the Super Rugby, the Super Rugby curtain raisers, with the Marvel. What do you think of the games in general over the weekend, and specifically the Bulls?
Well, I mean, geez, I don't know when last I've been so excited to watch a game, and I don't know whether it was because I was going to see the teams play again, or whether it was just to see the sellout crowd. I mean, I don't know when last we had a sellout match in South Africa. Yeah. So I think both of them played such a role. I mean, even my kids was watching with me. It was just such a cool idea, and the whole Marvel concept that they've now brought to the party for the South African teams this year I mean, if I can just jump to past both matches, I think it was an awesome success. It was
Yeah.
really, it came off, I think, better than anybody had expected it to come off. And I really hope that it's an inspiration towards the rest of the season for especially all the, the local derbies. But in general, hopefully that has inspired people to start going back to the game, and realize that it's not just an 80-minute experience anymore, but it's more, there's a little bit more to it now. From the, all the sponsors involved in that, I think they came to the party, and I think they're gonna try and stick to it for the rest of the season. So hopefully the people can come. If we go back to the actual match, then see, that was like, I'm so glad that that the Bulls Stormers match was the last match of the day, because everything just culminated into that match. And I think even the players were so psyched up about the whole event. I think they forgot that it was a warm-up match, and it ended up. I mean, the way I felt it was a full-on. It could have been it's a full-on seasonal match. It didn't come over as a warm-up match at all. My thoughts of the match, I mean, 21-0 down. I was like, oh, geez, really? Is it already, I didn't know what to think, honestly. I was just like, at that stage, I mean, as we know, the Proteas was actually playing Pakistan. And I mean, that was like, should I or shouldn't I? Should I? And I just thought, no, you know what? I'm going to stick it out. It is a warm-up game. Let's not get overboard here. And I mean, then suddenly it started clicking, for the Bulls. And geez, I thought, if there's one thing out of the game, even though we lost, I think we showed a lot to ourselves, even though it was a warm-up match. Like I said, the hype of the day really came to the heads of the team, I think. So it was a full-on game. I don't think anybody was holding back a little bit at all. And in that regard, I honestly think that comeback that the Bulls had pulled off to actually lead, what was it, 28-26, I think, at one stage, that is, to me, that is like, okay, that is awesome to see, that they first of all had the ability to come back. And second of all, the defense they showed in the second half was something out of the books. I mean, if you think about that first 3 tries, yes, it was against the run of play. So fair enough, I suppose it's a bit harsh to maybe blame the defense team for that. But I think when we found our feet in the match, it was guns blazing. The guys they were attacking well, and they were defending even better.
Yeah, I must admit, I did notice the defense in the second half, because for the past couple of years, defense hasn't really been a focus on the Bulls, and it's always been about attack. And even under John Mitchell, it was, even though he's now the defense coach for England, it's he was also focused mainly on attack. And it's actually just nice to see what I found the nicest was actually people, when you actually do the hard work off the ball. The guys were still getting up and they were getting into position. Yes. And I think that's great, because normally the first game of the season, there's so many drop balls and there's so many knock-ons, and there's and there was a bit of that, but it wasn't as bad as it normally is.
Yeah, I think if you look at both the games that was played on Sunday, it was like a contrast. It was like black and white almost. I mean, you look at that Lions Sharks game. It was, sorry to say, but it was unbelievably boring, and there was a lot of handling errors. Then suddenly you went to that game. That's why I say I'm actually so glad that our game was the last game of the day, because I mean it just gave that crowd really something, to enjoy. And I mean, I know I've heard so many stories of people that went to the game. I don't know if you know this, but apparently tickets were sold in batches of 4. So it's not like you could buy 2 tickets. Hey, Jacques, I don't know. Maybe you were even at the game. I mean, you're living down there. So, that's sad, man.
I was half from the house.
Okay, so you don't live that close. But anyway, so apparently tickets were sold in 4s. So the nice thing about, and the idea behind that was also, so most people tend to go in 2s a lot of the time nowadays. So they were trying to encourage people to take people with them that's never seen a game or anything. And I've heard so many stories of that, and I've even heard people that's never been to games that went to this specific game, and they were blown away. So yeah, I think hopefully the trick has worked in that regard, but only time will tell. From a high point of view, geez, I think the bar has been set for the season. So I really just hope that each union can now, from their perspective, work with the sponsors that put that day together and make it count for themselves now. Because, I mean, that's awesome. But, yeah, I know there's a few factors that also contributed to being a success that won't be the same throughout the season. But that's not why we're here tonight.
The one thing I noticed that, obviously, I think the tickets were 50 Rand each, and it was 150 Rand for 4 tickets, if I'm not mistaken. And that's 150 Rand, that's a Super Rugby ticket.
For one ticket, yes, you're right.
Yeah. Now you can take your whole family, and I've never understood that, why they keep the ticket prices so high, because 4 people in the stadium, they buy four cold drinks, four beers, so they make their money in other ways. And if you're taking your kids with you, they're going to want a jersey, they're going to want a cap, there's a lot of other merchandising around it.
I've been fortunate, through my sports blog that I've got. I've been fortunate over the years to get invited to a lot of the games and stuff, and sometimes get free tickets. But interesting enough, last year, the opening match for the Bulls against the Hurricanes at Loftus, I decided, you know what, I'm not going to do the free ticket route. I mean, I could have gotten tickets if I wanted to. But I decided, no, I don't want to do this. I want to actually do it proper, because I wanted to test something. And it was also the first time that I took my children to a match, because they've been very young. And I thought, no, you know what, let's do this. So it was 4 of us, me, my wife, and the 2 children. The tickets alone, that was 300 and something Rand. That was on the east stand. That wasn't on the main stand. The main stand would have been well over 500 Rand.
Yeah.
By the time the match had started, tickets and cold drinks and just something to eat. Before the match had started, I'd almost spent 1,000 Rand already. I didn't buy any merchandise like memorabilia or anything. It was just, it wasn't going to happen. Not at that rate that we were going. So I think, yes, you just touched on it now. There's no need for ticket prices to be that high, because there's so much other things in and around the stadium on game day that already makes so much more. I mean, a bottle of water is 500 mils of water, still water. It was like 20 Rand or something. So, yeah, you can imagine. That's just water. That's not cool drink. So, anyway, yeah, I mean, I think this Superhero Sunday did show was that you can fill up a stadium by dropping the ticket prices.
Yeah.
And you can still probably make money through your food vendors and stuff like that. I think that myth has been busted completely.
I think so too. But let's carry on. Let's go to the next. I've actually got the team sheet here in front of me. The full squad. What do you think of this year's squad?
I think it's a proper balance of youth and experience. If I can use those 2 words.
Yeah.
Which is really nice to see. And I mean, if I can go to the youth first, the names that are there are exciting names. I mean, they're names that we've seen a little bit of, 1 or 2 games in Super Rugby and quite a few games in Currie Cup. So it's nice to see the Bulls. Well, the Bulls are clearly still, they're still building on what they've started last year, and I do think John Mitchell hasn't left, and it was a lost cause. I honestly, thankfully, Porter was with him, so I honestly believe that he's that kind of guy that has seen that has worked, and he has kept that. And I think it was very evident anyway in the game. I mean, you could see the Bulls they were willing to attack. I mean, in the 3 tries that were scored against us, I think 2 of them was from attack. The Bulls were busy attacking, and it's just a matter of, losing a ball or an intercept pass. So it's fine. but the balance, I think the balance is quite nice. Like I said, of the youth and the experience, and the experience is that is actually very exciting. The type of experience that they went with. So even though looking at a guy like Schalk Brits, I mean he's old, but I mean the experience that guy brings from the time that he spent with Saracens, you can't buy that. You don't buy that anywhere.
Exactly.
And I must say it's exciting to see that they're actually starting with him. I see the team that's playing this weekend, another warm-up game against the Sharks. He's starting again. And I mean, that team, I don't know if you've seen that team, but jeepers, that is an exciting lineup. Okay. The starting lineup I'm talking about.
Actually, have a look at that. Because I rate obviously Dwayne Vermeulen and Schalk are the really big
I didn't mention Dwayne, sorry, but I mean, he's right up there.
Yeah, I'd look for me. Dwayne Vermeulen is probably one of the top 5 rugby players in the world. He's that kind of player because I watch him play, and when he plays quite deep, when he catches the ball, and it's amazing. He just doesn't drop the ball. That's safe hands.
He's solid.
He's very, very solid. And
he's solid. I just hope that hopefully, because it's a World Cup year as well, Dwayne actually just gives that something extra, like when he played that first game last year when they got him back in the Bok team. That first game against England, I mean, jeepers, that is like the Dwayne of old, you know. And I think for that game, I just think, I don't know why, and I don't know if it was because of Alistair or what, but I just felt that Dwayne's game had gone down so badly. And I was fortunate to be at that England, the Bok England game in Johannesburg, and my only focus that day was Dwayne Vermeulen, and it, unbeknown that he was maybe going to the Bulls eventually, which was like the best story in so many years, So that day, when that game was finished, my father-in-law went to the game with me, and I told him, you know what, this is so awesome to see Dwayne back. So if we can have that Dwayne for the games that he's going to play for us during Super Rugby, cheapers. I'm excited.
I just find a lot of players that go to France, their game does drop a lot. I look at someone like Jan Serpentine, who I rate as probably one of the best centers in the world. But he's not anymore. I just think whoever he's, because he plays for Montpellier or whatever. I know we're going off the topic there a little bit, but I've watched a few games with him, and he's just not the same player anymore. So I think
I'm a big Jan fan, and look, I've heard that there's rumors that he is part of the Bok plans, and I really hope they're true. I really hope they are true, because if there's one guy that we do need, it's Jan Serfontein, because Jan Serfontein in a Bok jersey is a different Jan Serfontein to any other jersey that he's worn.
Yeah, I know.
So
I agree, but
there's some, like I said, the rumors are there, and the source that I have is someone that I actually, there's no guy in this country that comes close to this guy, and he's been spot on with everything he's ever shared with me.
It wasn't last year, but the year before, he was the only, when we lost 57-0, the embarrassment year, he was the only South African player that I had in my world team.
Wow.
Through the rugby championship, because he literally was the best centre at that time.
And, for sure. No, by a country mile.
I'd love to see him back. But let's get back to the team.
Yes.
I've highlighted a few players that I feel, obviously, we're talking the spine of the team now. So obviously we've got Schalk Brits at 2, excellent. Dwayne Vermeulen at 8. I'm liking how Embrose Papi is playing at the moment. I know a lot of people like Evan van Zyl, but I must admit I'm a bit of I like Papi.
Yeah, no, we're on the same page there. I can promise you that. He's actually starting this weekend against the Sharks.
I think I just think he's from Faf down. It's quite a big jump. Yes. But I just think he can fill that gap a lot better than anybody else.
I think the future prospects are just immense. I don't know if I don't know how many people has seen YouTube videos of Ambrose Papier. But I mean, there's a video of him when he was playing for Garsfontein Hoërskool, and I mean, jeepers. I will always talk about that video, even doesn't matter if it's 10 years from now. But
Yeah.
the day I saw that video, and that was before he even started for the senior team for the Bulls, I was like excited about this boy. You know, he's a prospect. He's a scary prospect, actually. People don't realize him. And I know he gets bashed a lot. And I think it's very unfair. It's not his fault that he's getting bashed because he's not getting the opportunity. And I think there was a little glimpse of that on Sunday when he had that break. I mean, I don't think he had the right support with him. But I mean, that break is only the tip of the iceberg of what I've seen of Ambrose. So that boy is special. And I'm 100% with you there with, I'll pick him ahead of Ivan any day of the week.
Then moving along, obviously the next person in the spine, obviously we've got Andre.
Yeah.
I must admit, I watched Mani Lebok play in Currie Cup last year, and I was pretty impressed. I think he understands space quite well. Yeah, and that's a talent. You can't teach that. You know, you can't teach that person when they look up and see space.
No, he's a natural as well. I mean, him and Warwick Galan to me are like, geez, because those two. You know what would be actually an interesting. I know it's a weird thing that I'm going to tell you now, but I can tell you now, if you put Warwick Galan next to Mani Lebok as a center, now, I'm not saying get rid of Andre, but to me, Andre is the number one. But Mani Lebok is an X-factor player of note.
Agree.
And he showed it in the Currie Cup.
I'm just hoping he gets enough game time, you know, during Super Rugby. I'm sure he will, but
it's going to be difficult. It's going to be difficult and unfairly so because I mean, obviously being a World Cup year, and I mean, surely I think Rassie is going to have a lot of say into a lot of the teams and certain players. But I've also got a suspicion in that same breath that Rassie will be wanting to rest a few guys. So and that will be the opportunity that Mani will get then. I mean, you know what? On Sunday, you could actually see the difference when Mani had come on. Funny enough, I mean, the game had changed also quite a lot when he came on. You know, that boy's got a head on him to control the match. He's definitely got it. People are underestimating his size and thinking that's counting against him. Trust me, that boy can be as small as you want to.
I've stopped listening to that now.
No, I agree with you.
You know, I saw Damien McKenzie the first time, and I thought, geez, what a small boy, but geez, that guy's special. And even
there's your evidence.
Yeah, so size means nothing nowadays.
Yeah, it doesn't. Well, in fact, if you go back to the '99 World Cup, Brayton Paulse proved that size doesn't matter.
Exactly. Then obviously other players that I'm picking up on, obviously Luat as captain, I think is a good choice for me personally.
I was confused. Initially, I was a bit confused, and then I sat down and I went through the players individually, and I thought to myself, but you know, at the end of the day, it's the obvious choice. It really is. Yeah. And I mean, if I think about what his attitude towards the game is just it's so nice to see guys like that. I mean, you probably saw last year in the Currie Cup when he was out for most of the year after he got injured in Super Rugby. And he made himself available to help coach the line-out team, and he was always next to the field, water boy, and all that stuff. I mean, you know what? It's deservedly, yes. And I mean, I think on Sunday, you know, you could see he's a proper leader, and he, you know, on the field, he leads from the front by example.
I still think he's probably. I personally think he's probably the best lock in South Africa. That's my personal. I think. I just feel he's got better ball skills and he's a better rugby player than just an enforcer and a line-out jumper. You know, that
well, I mean, to me, it should be him. You know, speaking from a Brock perspective, I believe it should be Luat and Peter Steve. You know, so I just think Eben has lost that grunt. I honestly do.
I think when he got that big injury, I think it's knocked his confidence big time. But Other players are obviously Ambrose Marco van Staden's back. I'm glad that he's playing. I don't know if he's still injured. Is he back like fully now?
He's still, apparently he's still injured. I'm not 100% sure what is the injury, but he is apparently still injured. And I'm looking at this weekend's team. He's not there at all. So he's definitely not. He's not in any form of match option at this stage. So I heard the other day that apparently he's injured. So I'm not 100% sure. I'm actually trying to find out still. I found an article that just said he's injured. They didn't really specify what the injury was.
Is there like for you? Are there any areas of concern?
Well, if I look at this weekend's team that's going to play the Sharks, I mean that is, I'm focusing specifically on the first 15. I'm not really looking so much at the bench. But if I look at the starting lineup, I want to almost say this to me is a potential. This could be the possible team. that we're looking at. I mean,
who's the starting tight end?
So we got Lisa. Well, it's the same as the weekend. Lisa Goboka, Skulk, and Trevor.
Okay. I've been concerned about tight end for a while, but
well, I mean, with the players that we've lost, it's definitely. I know it's going to be Lisa and Trevor. I've also, I've been told this a few times now that they will definitely be the number ones. Well, in their positions, because I know that the guys behind them are all junior, if I can call them that, or much less experienced. So I just hope that between Trevor and Lisa, we're going to be fine injury-wise, that they're not going to get injured, because they're both good props, those two. And they don't play like your conventional props when it comes to open play. So, that makes it exciting. I mean, the props for this weekend is obviously Lewitt, and then Jason Jenkins is back. So they're giving him a go. Another guy that when him and RG used to play before Lewitt joined the Bulls, I thought that was the future of Bok Rugby, actually.
Yeah.
I thought, behind obviously Eben and Peter Steff, because, I mean, those two really gelled well. But it's just nice to see how Lewitt somehow gets it right to just play with any proper, lock next to him. It's very sad about the RG, but, we got to get over this in 8 weeks, and then he'll be back. So it's already been a week. Well, by the time Super Rugby starts, it'll be down to 6 weeks, which is awesome. Then, I mean, Rohan Steenkamp, he's been with the Bulls for years now. Former junior Bok captain. He's led the Bulls in Currie Cup. Another hard guy, plays, from the heart. And, I like the way he plays. It's commitment all around when he plays. And then, I mean, Tembalani Boli, I think he showed a lot of promise last year when he came to the Bulls. So it's a future prospect, I think. I'm not sure how high up. And then obviously Dwayne is there, so it's nice to see, the guys are being well. I mean, I know Dwayne has only recently, literally joined the Bulls, 2-3 weeks ago. So I think they want to just get him in there and make sure, he's 100% ready to go. And time's running out. This is the last weekend, then the competition starts.
Well, I think we're running out of time. I know I said I wanted to have a 15-minute show, but it looks like we're going to go well over that. But that's fine. Let's just. I had a few other things to talk about, but let's just talk about how you think the Bulls are going to do this year in Super Rugby.
I promised myself I'm not gonna. I don't want to jump the gun here and make predictions and stuff like that.
Let me reword it. What do you hope for, and what do you think it's going to be?
Well, obviously, I'm hoping for the best. Any guy that supports a team and you don't hope for the best, what are you doing? But anyway, so obviously, I'm hoping for the best, but I need to be realistic. And obviously, the bar, the bar that I've got to look at is where we were at last. I thought the Bulls did better last year than they have done before. even though we didn't finish placing, on the table, I don't think we finished where we should have or could have placed. We had a few close losses, which could have gone anywhere.
Yeah.
I honestly think the guys, from what I've seen and heard, there's definitely a hunger there. My biggest thing is I just want the guys to just play the game. Don't be over eager, have goals, but because I sometimes get this idea that like the guys are so eager to do well, and that's when they, like on Sunday, like the guys want to do well. Jesse gets out the blocks and boom, he's off the field. So just take it slowly. Take it game by game. Super Rugby is a long tournament. You can't win it in the first week. It's impossible. Rather build. I mean, we've got a team that on paper, I think we've got a great team. But we need to take this team on paper, put them on the field, and make them show why they are good on paper. And my expectancy could be, obviously, if we can do better than last year. I know I don't like saying that. I hate that. To me, it's like you go for gold or you don't.
Yeah.
So I want us to make the playoffs. That's a minimum standard.
I think so. For me, just looking at, because I've got the schedule here in front of me. Because I think there's only one real big traveling one in the first 13 weeks or 13 rounds. So they obviously got to travel to Argentina, but obviously their big traveling's right at the end of the.
Yeah, I saw that, which is not nice.
It's not ideal, but it gives them an opportunity. They've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 home games. If you can win all those home games, at least it's better than last year.
Well, I mean that would be a great platform to work for.
Exactly.
If you can win those games, then the confidence levels will be up. The guys will honestly believe in themselves, and they will have more to play for come that end of season tour, because then you kind of know where you are or where you're heading. You either know your season is done, or you know that you've got a chance. And I think in that regard, I don't mind the tour being at the end, but I've always been a fan of, if the guys can go on tour in the first 2 weeks, then it's done and dusted, out of the way. Let's focus on, because I mean it is a mental thing. Although after how many years of rugby, I can't understand why we hear players and coaches still say, "Yeah, it's tough to be away from home." Cheapest guys, it's a professional sport. Sorry, I can't grasp that idea. I can't.
No, look. For me, I think if they make the playoffs, I think it's been a successful season. Actually, you're absolutely right. I think that's minimum. The players that they've brought in, the kind of rugby that I saw in the weekend, they have to make the playoffs. I think that's the minimum. Sure. Also, I think the Bulls for a long time have been living under the shadow from that 2010 team. So we had three wins in 4 years. We had this rock star team that could beat anyone, and I think and it's just been this huge big shadow looming over the Bulls, and so then they get to it's 24-25 and they can't finish a game out. They can't just get that victory. And I think they just if they make the quarters, then they know they're on the right track and they can get out of that shadow.
Exactly. That's why I say if they can, like you said, they've got that seven home games before they go, and then I mean if they can win those games, the confidence levels will be up, and the self-belief will be up. And those things play a role in sport. Doesn't matter what sport you do. If the confidence level's up and your self-belief is up, then you think then you believe that you can conquer anything. And I mean, geez, if the Jaguares can go down under and win 4 games, it's never been done before. Come on, guys, we are better than them. And I'm not saying we as the Bulls. I mean, South African rugby is better than Argentinian rugby, and we need to start waking up and realize that. And the teams of South Africa, the Bulls, the Stormers, and that need to take that ownership and say, but if they can do it, we can do it. It's a matter of self-belief.
Exactly. But listen, Jacques, thanks for having this conversation. I think we'll do it like maybe once a month or something like that, because then we'll have quite a bit to talk about. About the previous games and anything. But why don't you tell anyone how they can get hold of you, where they can follow you?
So, like I've mentioned earlier, I've got my own sports website. It's called theyellowcap.com, and I'm on Twitter, and I've got a Facebook page. It's not my big focus, and I have a little Instagram page. My big thing is Twitter, so I like to drive the conversations there, and speak my mind and that. So, like I said, 2019, I'm going to be a bit more positive. I'm going to try and give out a few less lashings and stuff. And look, I'm really excited. There's been a lot of changes at Loftus, right from the top down. So I'm going to try and be positive and back these guys to do it. And if we can support them, then hopefully they can support us. And, together we can just make the Bulls what they should be. So, it's everywhere you want to find me. It's The Yellow Cap on all social media platforms, The Yellow Cap. And then the website is theyellowcap.com.
Okay, perfect. I'll put all the links down below in the comments.
Thanks so much.
But I'll chat to you soon. I'll chat to you in the next couple of weeks, Jacques.
Yeah, thanks so much, Donovan. And I'm really excited about this concept, and I hope we can build it up. So, I look forward to chatting to you again.
I hope every time we chat, there's always good news about victories and stuff.
Yeah. Well, with the good comes the bad, they say. So, but let's hope it's less than the good is more than the bad, and then we run out of time and we don't have to touch on the bad.
Yeah. Cheers, Jacques.
Thanks, Donovan. Cheers, man. Have a nice one.
See you, man. Bye.